And speaking of the cap, let's get into it. The NFL salary cap had a pretty dramatic increase, up to what are we at 252 and change now after this dramatic increase. Again, about roughly 10 to 12 million dollars more than what was originally anticipated. Have to imagine this helps out, well, every single team in the league, but in particular the Jets and the Giants, who definitely need to be adding talent and could use the additional cap space to do that.
Yeah, the Giants are now looking at around $30 million in cap space to open up free agency. And that's before they make some of these cuts that we mentioned and some of those restructurings. So the Giants could realistically balloon that number up towards 60, maybe even higher. I think they could put that number up near 70 to $80 million if they really want to crunch the numbers and free up a lot of cap space. So this is a big deal. We got to say thanks to Taylor Swift for this. She brought in a lot of new fans to the NFL. It brought in a lot of advertising to the NFL, and it made them a lot more money than they anticipated this past season. Obviously, being kind of removed from COVID has helped a lot for the NFL as well. This is time for this league to really expand and start paying players more, start opening up new avenues. I mean, the cap rising this much, not to, take it too far off topic, but this could be steps towards 10 years from now, there being expansion teams. And we're actually having teams in Europe like the NFL has been wanting to do for a very long time. So this is really important for the NFL in general, but for the New York Giants and the New York Jets, it just makes it easier for them to move their cap around a little bit and not feel pressured, not feel like they have to cut this player or cut that player. Maybe they hold on to a player that they were kind of 50-50 on now. But the overall effect of this on the Jets and Giants, those players like Xavier McKinney, who the Giants want to retain, but they're going to have to retain him at a high price point. Well, his price point probably just went up. He said, okay, the cap went up, so now my asking price has gone up a little bit. And I think that's going to be kind of the negative effect. We're going to talk about the positive effects, of course, because there's more money for everybody to spend, but that also means that there's more money for players to ask for, which is good for the players, but for the teams individually, it is going to become a little bit of a challenge.
Absolutely. And 255.4 was the number, have it up on over the cap here. As you called out, Giants 30.6 million in cap space. That could change with some of these restructures and cuts. Jets at 12.7, but with some simple restructures and some cuts, that number can get upwards of $40 million. So I'm really interested, for me anyway, to see what cap casualties we get, not only from the Jets and the Giants, but just around the league, right? For teams to continue to build up and get more cap. And then how high do these contracts go? Like, I don't think anyone was expecting, the cap to go up this much. I think this is why I got the numbers mixed up. I believe it was 242 million. That was the projected cap hit. And then almost $13 million increases over what it was actually projected to be is insane. But who do you think, like, I guess either who or what positional group do you think increases or has the most impact, or this has the most impact on?
I think this has a pretty big impact on the quarterback position. And I'll say that because last year, Daniel Jones signed that contract and kind of ruined the quarterback market forever. You can be an average quarterback who has a couple good games. And because it's so hard to find the quarterback who's average and has a couple good games, you can get paid like an elite quarterback at the end of your rookie contract. So with this cap going up, with Daniel Jones having that contract, and now if you're Baker Mayfield, for example, going into free agency, you're saying, okay, my floor now is the Daniel Jones contract. And you know what? Add on the 12% or whatever, the cap just rose to that. And that's what I want. And now you're going to have like Dak Prescott coming off of this MVP year. And he just said, okay, I had a great campaign. I'm due for another contract. Give me this plus this percentage. I want more now because of the salary cap. So it's really going to have a trickle-down effect on all the positions. It's going to hit quarterback first and foremost because there are some big contracts to be handed out this offseason. But then going forward, when you're looking at the Jets and the Giants situations in particular, pass rusher is a big one. It's becoming more and more valuable. I think that Micah Parsons is in the conversation to be the first $40 million per year defensive player. Once that happens next season, or if that contract gets done this offseason, the price for all defenders is going to go up, and especially edge rushers and pass rushers. So there's going to be a trickle-down effect here across the NFL. And one of the positions that I'm most curious to see how it affects the Giants is a running back and maybe safety as well, because the Giants do have Saquon Barkley as an impending free agent. They have Xavier McKinney as an impending free agent. Giants are reportedly not expected to offer Saquon the same offer that they gave him last year, which he rejected. They're going to lower that asking price. But maybe now they don't have to because the salary cap went up. it's kind of a tricky thing here where if they were going to lower it by that percentage and now the cap went up by that percentage, well, they can give him the contract that they offered last year because it's not worth as much as it was last year. So the running back position, safety position for the Giants in particular, I'm curious to see how this affects those spots. I know McKinney wants top 5 money. What does that look like now with all of the salary cap movement? It remains to be seen, but it's definitely going to have a severe impact on both of these teams' free agency plans.